Good evening and welcome to another edition of After Hours, our sci-fi and how do you help others chat. We're here with Richard Steele from the Chinook and the Vampire from the Essex. Tomorrow afternoon, about 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we'll be sitting down to have coffee with the Vampire and his XO to talk about a lot about their chapter. So tune in tomorrow for that. It'll be the first show of that, and if you wish to join in and be part of that, we plan on doing one interview a month at least, unless we get inundated with a lot of requests. And then we'll add more shows to it if that's the case. But the main goal is to give a interview of what is this chapter that can be shared at booths for recruiting, and also on web pages and Facebook pages.
You can also share it with your crews if you get some pointers on problems that either have or could pop up that you couldn't find a way around.
So, any fun things that you are doing this week?
Not this week. Working on lots of stuff because the Calgary Expo is soon.
This guy decided to go to play a Klingon in one of the fan films last week.
Neutral Zone Studios.
And at the end of April, Neutral Zone Studios is going to be
demoing one end of the building on the interior, because they got the other half and they're going to build more sets.
Excellent.
Yes, and we've been asked to show our happy selves up there, and of course we've also been asked to go and during the fan appreciation weekends and guide people around.
Excellent.
See if I can get a picture.
I know I saw some kids kicking around last week, like Monday.
What did you see kicking around Monday?
Pictures? You guys?
Oh yeah, that was us.
Drew, you're pretty recognizable in almost anything.
Yeah, well, there's not many pictures of me. You got one of the gentlemen is from CAG. Zoom that in.
Nah, they're kind of blurry.
Some are. This is
well, I'm not popping that up yet. I'm looking for one that will show
me and makeup and telephones.
Somebody. No, that's not them.
Can't you see what those are?
Not this way.
No.
No, they're all the same.
Why are they all the same?
I mean, you didn't send much. I had to go to find Michael's page to get the other ones.
What other ones?
He sent like 12 pictures and the set. I didn't post the set pictures. But Well, that's not it. I gotta find our other crew member's page because he posted more to his page. And why can't I find it?
Mhm.
Oh, that's why I'm spelling it wrong.
That'll help.
Me not spell well.
Me not spell at all.
Him not wake.
That's why I went into command. I could get away with spelling less. They give me a yeoman. Spell them for me.
Good.
See, I went into the command because that way I'm responsible.
Yeah, I think that's the photo I saw.
Yeah,
Get out of the way.
Me and Larry.
Oh,
Yeah.
here, let's see.
Well,
Windows.
Yeah, but in your case, Drew, you were going to be the responsible one, so you might as well have the title as the responsible one, right?
Here's the pictures.
Yeah, that's a nice picture.
Which one is that? Oh,
They're all sitting there waiting to. It's like, yeah, let's go die in combat. Stovacor awaits.
So, like I said, they actually drove up there and had fun. Did a little bit of the filming as a Klingon. They say that they get a lot of Federation, but they don't get many aliens.
yeah, they don't get many Klingons. So they said, if you've got the Klingon makeup costume, go for it.
Well, that's cool. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I have a Star Trek uniform, so I have a sash. I have a Klingon sash, but not a full uniform.
They decided to make a netted shirt. So on film, it looks really good. To put it together took a lot of ironing.
Yeah.
And the house smelled like burnt plastic. But mine was basically I took a brown t-shirt, cut it up, and then spray painted it. So in that picture, there was two different versions of it. I didn't go with them.
Yeah.
One was the prefab uniform that Mark had.
Yeah.
Mark had a prefab TOS uniform, and then they had theirs that they made.
Definitely of the TOS uniforms, I think the Klingon one is probably the one you can put together the easiest.
Yeah.
And probably the Romulan one is the hardest.
What's really funny is the Klingon that we had looked more like the one from the show when on camera.
Oh, that's fair.
He's going to get it. But the one thing, if you are doing an event, especially if you're doing it with multiple chapters, remember to reward the people that show up.
Oh, definitely. You've got to do that.
And ask for email addresses of the people that you're going to give awards to.
Yes, very important if you're giving awards to people who are not your chapter.
That's it.
I've wrestled with that a couple times. I sometimes get to cheat because I'm a brigade officer, or I'm the brigade OIC, so sometimes I can cheat and grab the Marine, but I cannot do everybody that way. So,
but with the new changes and everything, and the SIPPP limitations, You can't just run around asking people online, "Hey, what's your email address?"
Yeah, I know. It's
And if you want to surprise them,
well, yeah, that's a. I have a workaround because of the fact that I can sit there and go, hi, Mr. RC, can you do me a favor? Can you do this? Because if I get him to do it instead, just hand him the write-up that says why, and go, this is this person.
Now the
He
other one
submits it.
is the
It's all
other
good.
work. The other workaround is you can just the SCC number and the email address of the chapter, which is generally opened by the XO or the CO.
Yeah.
They can give the award that way, and then you can give it to whomever.
Yeah, I do that.
I'm going to do that from now on.
I've got 6 of them bad boys to give out. I already got, well, actually, I only got 2 left.
I sometimes do that, and I just wait until I'm going to be in their area, and then I just have it sent to me. But some of the forms are like, I want an email, and I'm like, you know what? You can send.
We've got.
Well, the form doesn't even have a spot on it for email address.
Well, it depends which form. The Marine one does.
Oh, really?
Pain in the butt, but yes. The Marine one does, but I'm allowed to send it to the award to myself, and then I give it out from there.
Oh, that's cool.
Our communications officer for print shop for the chapter created close to 3, if not 400 separate prints of all these kinds.
1 second.
And when she was finally done, she only charged us like $21. We're talking for what could have been close to $400 or $500 worth of printing. So that was cool.
So I don't want to mess with tomorrow's broadcast, so I'm not asking you too much. How have you been, though? I have to go to find Michael's. John, how have you been?
Yeah, right. We just lost one member because he's transferred to another ship.
Huh?
We lost one member because he's transferred to another ship because it's more near to where he lives.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's trying to find another chapter closer.
Yeah, well, we found one that's just been just been launched in the UK, the Mercia.
Oh.
So it's more near to where he lives.
So how many ships is that in the UK?
Now it's 14.
14. That's a small island to have 14 chapters. Holy crap.
So when are you going to open the next 3? And see, this way you can demonstrate, in a confined area. You do not necessarily, if you all work together with one big happy group, you don't have to, oh, well, I'm on this, so you can't come within 50 feet of me.
No,
don't look in my direction. I'm better than you.
No, we do get a chance. I belong to a group chat, Q Forward. That
Cool.
They do they do certain stuff. They do movies, quizzes.
Sweet.
We have, by the way, came up against that attitude, trying to figure out wait, what are you talking about? Aren't you at Starfleet International? Yeah, okay, so we're one big happy fleet, right? Oh no, I'm the this.
That's not super unusual. I mean, I'll be honest. I was at an event where we'd historically been there because there hadn't been a chapter in a city, and there was a chapter in that city, and that chapter asked us to utilize the table space, share the table with us, and negotiate a price. And they made an offer, and we went, no, that's too expensive for you. We'll cut it in half. And then once the event was done, that CO talked shit about us behind our back. And I don't know why he thought he wouldn't get back to us. I'm like,
this is our fourth time working with others.
well, I am glad that you and your units or your fellowships are working well together. I'm hoping to work well because we are now going to have 2 ships from Calgary in at the Calgary Expo this year. So that'll be interesting, and I hope that it works out well.
Are you doing a combined booth or?
No, we're doing separate.
Well, we've all seen a lot of growth because we're doing it together.
Because there are a number of factors involved in that particular thing.
Oh, yes.
And it's one of those things of maybe next year,
right,
when we see how we get along this year.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. Because while not completely sour of a split, it was still a split kind of thing. So, you know, while we've gotten along so far, when we're actually going to try and recruit at the same event,
right,
we'll have to see how that goes before we start.
That's when the rumor mill is going to be kicked in pretty high.
Well, I can't. You can't fight that. That seems to
be. We didn't have a rumor mill. That's what we don't understand. It's just like, whoa. You know.
I don't necessarily get it either because of the fact that I constantly get people hearing things from people, and of course they always want to make it an anonymous, and I'm like, I didn't hear that.
Right. We worked with all these people.
Sometimes
we worked with all these people. The first time we did it, it was touchy, but we all decided we were going to try to have the most fun we could.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
I think we had been there about 30 minutes before we all just started laughing our asses off. We thought it was so funny. Pardon my language. We had fun. We played games. We got pictures.
Yeah.
Somebody would go get something to eat at this particular place, and they'd come back and they'd say, "Hey, did you know they have X and X and X over there, and they have one of these over there?" And you can get your picture taken with it. And
well, and I mean,
we're all working together.
Yeah, and part of the reason we didn't just go, oh well, let's team up is I'm not talking about a booth cost that's $150. I'm talking about a booth cost that's that's $1,200 because I'm retail, because I sell stuff.
Yeah,
that's how we give back to the community is we make money. We have lobes. I'm sorry. That's just the way it works. That's how we've decided to do it. You know, sending 6 to 8 people to space camp feels really good. So
and that is the difference between doing a retail booth and doing a recruiting booth too.
Yeah, and I mean we recruit as well, but you know, but the bread and butter is to pay to sell whatever we're selling this year. I know a big order of books, and God love our quartermaster, second officer / RC, who found whatever website he found, where basically you buy second chance at returns from various organized or various bookstores. So like when a bookstore sits there and goes, I got 20 copies of this, I'm never moving it, I'm just sending it back, it gets bulk sold to a warehouse. That warehouse sells it to us. We sit there, take their Star Trek science fiction stuff, and we've had good stuff too. Like I have the Picard and the Janeway autobiographies. And those are hardcover covers. And I know what I paid because I paid basically cost.
Oh, so that's what you're selling.
So, well, whatever. I mean, we sell memorabilia, we sell badges, although badges seems to be like a limited time thing. I mean, I'm wearing two of the items we sell, which are this Klingon Triforce and this item here. But the company that used to make those really seems like it went under during COVID.
There's
and
a lot of companies went under.
Yeah. So and then we got all the old like the classic pins from that Hollywood pins era.
Yeah.
They're the people who did the manufacturing for them. So they had.
I guess nobody's going to finish their enterprises. What was that company called? The one that did all the metal ships.
Oh, Eagle
Moss went out of business.
Yeah, I did that too.
I was like, okay, so much for that enterprise project.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate for that kind of thing.
The studio model people are doubling up. But then
And-
again, you know, their Galaxy class, this saucer is this from the floor this big.
Oh, for freak.
They're basically studio size models.
I know that we recently, a gentleman whose name escapes me right now, a member of the ship, gave us a Chinook model where they had pieced together the registry and that, and made a Defiant model, obviously, and then pieced together the registry for us and gave us that. I believe the captain has that. But I mean, definitely stuff that we're looking forward to. I know we still have a bunch of the 1-in-6 dolls that somebody's collection was getting downsized for. So we have a bunch of those 1-in-6 dolls that Playmate made. I want to say in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
I'm looking for a hardback. Rimzadi 2.
I don't have one. But if I come across one, Drew, I'll think of you.
If anybody sees the role players narrator's guide,
Narration guide?
Narrator's guide, Ryan Case is looking for it.
What, a hard copy?
Yeah, because I kind of found the set of the narrator's guide. Put it on this one. Hold on.
Is that the Lost Unicorn or Last Unicorn one? Yeah. Okay. Well, but what company is it? Should be on the back.
Decipher.
Oh, is it the Decipher one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I found
well out of print.
I found this.
Yeah.
And
have
this particular one, which is the Role Players Association 2nd edition.
Yeah.
Core rule book for $10 each.
I'll be perfectly honest. The amount of times that license, especially in the 90s, changed hands was surprising.
Yeah, but I'm saying if anybody sees that narrator's guide
get in touch with you so you can, because Ryan
just let Ryan Case know.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess letting Ryan Case know isn't actually hard.
Yeah, because I'm just putting it out there because when he saw it, he was like, "Where did you find that? I've been looking for 4 years."
I was only looking for 4 years. Fuck. I have a book in my collection for D&D that I looked for 12 years before I found a copy.
Was it the original AD&D book or one of the?
It was a 2nd edition book.
Okay, so ADD.
Yeah, it's in Aurora's Whole Realms catalog.
Damn.
Yeah, it was difficult to find. At least not. You can sometimes find it on eBay, but the shipping will kill you. And it's a prefix. It's a perfect bound book from TSR before they went to archive paper. So like the paper in it is sort of like novel paper from the 80s. So
that thick stuff.
It's a little it's a little yellow. I would love to find find good files for it and have somebody print me a proper copy that would hold up a little better, because I don't like using the copy that probably at some point will fall apart because it's not archive quality.
There are five limited publications I am looking for.
Have you looked on AnyFlip?
No, but
there might be a PDF of it.
Well, I might actually have a PDF of it. I just don't know if I have a good PDF of it. And then you need to find a printer. You need to find a print organization that doesn't have a big issue with printing a PDF, because some of the ones that some places have issues with printing PDFs of stuff without like documented paper trails. Not like you can't get a documented paper trail for this.
Yeah,
it's ever been offered. Although that might be wrong, because I've never looked up on RPG drive-through RPG lately, because I know a bunch of D&D stuff went on there for 2nd edition. I just never really looked for it. The 12 years I was looking for it from 90 to 2002.
Yeah.
Where PDF was like, yeah, that's a thing, but not a thing commonly.
Yeah. Now you can get it on anything.
Yeah. I have a big collection of stuff.
There's a Ships of the Fleet. There's a Ships of the Enemy. There's a book of space maps. And the other book is simply what they're referring to as a Commander's Guide. They were printed in very limited editions, and the only way you find out if you got a real one is it has STRPA on the back in a delta. Now, they were written in the 70s. The last copy that I know of that was ever printed was printed in 77. They were all printed by the Star Trek Role Players Association.
I know what I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you're sustaining.
And I have been waiting. I have been looking for another copy of those manuals since 1986,
which is perfectly fair, because they are whatever 5,000 print, maybe best case scenario
400.
Oh yeah,
only
okay.
400.
Like yeah, I mean, like I didn't really know what the numbers might be, but I mean, I know there was where was it? I was watching something else about something that was like a semi-authorized fan sort of project thing, and there was like only 5,000 copies because it was privately printed.
All of the books have a cover letter by Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, that's sweet.
Each one is individual. We liked our little club.
Well, given that I was a toddler in 77.
You kids have no idea what fun is.
I know.
Wait a minute. When are we saying that?
Youth is
I know I wasn't born when it started.
Well, no. But I'm just. He's saying the last print was 77, and I
wasn't born yet.
I was a toddler.
He wasn't imagined yet.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
you weren't quite a twinkle yet.
There's
you might have been a glimmer, but you weren't a full twinkle.
Yeah, like there are a number of people in my club that are old enough to remember it, Drew. But I don't have people who generally fought in the here. I do not have people who fought in the Independence War of the United States. Like
we used to wait. This is so funny. We used to wait for letters from Canada, England, France, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Japan. We were everywhere, but we were very small actually, and we would literally wait if we were doing something. So,
it must have taken you forever to get stuff done.
well, the equivalent of a 2-day battle could take 6 months.
Remember, not everybody had cars back then.
Oh, it sounds more like Drew was playing by mail.
We played by mail and telephone. And if it was something really big, someone would actually break down and send a telegram.
Oh my
I know,
God.
right? We didn't have computers.
Well, you did. You just didn't use them for that because they ran Trash 90.
I'm talking about the days when 15 megabytes basically fit in a great big cabinet. Like
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but computers existed.
Like, people are like, well, why didn't you just use a computer back then? And we're kind of like, well, McDonnell Douglas had one, but they were
I'm
sure
there were people playing. I know for a fact that the first multiplayer computer game was 72.
It says A.
And it was being played on a mainframe at a university.
Yeah, they had 25 games that I know of that were Star Trek, and we used to love it because we all, of course, belonged to the computer club, so we all got to go to McDonnell Douglas, and we all get to sit in their computer room for 21 minutes. We literally would sit there and see a starship disappear behind the clouds and a Klingon disappearing in and out of clouds, and we tried to shoot them. Or something silly like that. And it says, I've seen the game now. I saw a video of it the other day, and I was like, I remember that game.
Now,
my wife looks over and says, I was never that old when that came out.
The person that said the message, if you go to facebook.com/StreamYard, you can authorize so that we would actually be able to see your name, but I'm looking for you on the different streams. But you're right, program in punch cards
out.
And was the movie Hidden Heroes the one about the black calculators?
Yes.
Or computers? I loved when they showed that and you saw the person with the stack like this going. And they went, how long does this take? Oh, the same thing you do in about 20 minutes takes 4 days. And it was true.
I remember, when I went to university, my University of York, still had a mainframe. And you use it for statistical analysis. You just send in your request, you get whatever, it would take whatever time, and then it would come back to you when it was damn well good and ready. So do it in the morning so that you're not sitting there in a queue with 400 people. But yeah, no, I mean, he used to I've interfaced with a mainframe. I for reasons I do not understand, my first elementary school used punch cards for their books for the library. I have no idea why, but I can very much remember a computer punch card, and you take the computer punch card out and sort of put it in the system, and then your book would then get stamped with whatever the date was. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yep. See, my first computer was the Tandy 1000.
Yeah, I had friends with Tandy.
It came with a book. There's not one big enough here. That was like this thick. And you would sit there and type in code on this page. And by the time you got through the third page, you would have a circle on your screen.
So my first actual computer that qualifies as a personal computer was a VIC-20. I had games that were loaded on tape, like regular cassette tape.
Yeah.
That was my school. We played what was that game where you were? It was out west.
Gunslinger?
High
You're probably thinking of Oregon Trail.
Yes.
Oregon Trail.
You'd play Oregon Trail and you'd sit there and it would tell you to fast forward or push play or reverse, depending on what your answer was to continue.
Yeah. I only played I played Oregon Trail, but I played Oregon Trail on an Apple IIe or an Apple IIc, which is the color version basically.
I had the Apple.
So I had a disc.
A year.
What was the original Apple? The Apple, the green and black screen.
Yeah. An Apple IIe is that machine that you might be thinking about because it is a green and black screen.
But it was a tape drive right beside it.
Yeah. So I can't. There was an. I think it was Apple. There was an Apple One, but there's something before the Apple One, which I think is the tape drive. Actually. But you'd have to go digging in the internet and figure out like what was the first few models of it.
Yeah,
because I remember that you had to flip the disc for Oregon Trail, which very quickly went out of style. Actually, I had an XT, and I was like, "Why are they flipping discs in Oregon on the Apple IIes? Because mine need to be flipped."
Then there's always the 3.5 floppy disk, which
God, you mean a save icon? which is what people.
What it looks like now.
Yeah. No, but that was the thing, right?
Yeah.
But once it got to the 3.5 floppy disk, it was no longer floppy. You could kill people with those things.
Yeah.
C++.
I took Q Basic in school.
I technically took a course in Visual Basic, but I could not tell you a damn thing about it.
Yes, but can you do C++ GUI?
I wish I had taken C++.
The names they used to come up with for this stuff. C++.
Oh, you could still use C++.
I remember
They versioned it 16 times since then.
I got in trouble for changing the coding of the built-in game for QBasic because some of the classes were playing the game all the time.
Yeah.
I said, "Get the fuck off the computer."
We had
Anybody here play Star Siege Tribes or Tribes 2?
No, I heard of Tribes 2.
They're both freeware now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You go to Tribes Next. You can play them on a Windows 11 and even Windows 12.
Windows 12. How far in the future did you go?
No, they've already wrote it to make it. They already said they've already got it because the people that rewrote the game to play it work at Microsoft.
So they've already got 12.
They've already given up on 11. That tells you it's worse than ME. Wait for it.
Hey, come on.
It can't be worse than ME. ME was terrible.
ME was great. You get the program, you put it in, less than 20 days later, Bill Gates is on international television going, well, sorry about that. So you're going to give me my money back? No.
No, I'm not giving you your money back. I think the worst he did was like, we'll give you the next version.
Yeah. However, anybody else remember that Windows 10 was supposed to be the last version of Windows?
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah. So was Windows 2.
Well, I mean, Bill Gates famously said 640 was all you're going to need.
I remember running DOS 6.5 GUI.
So do I.
And that's how I found out that passwords locked in the GUI were not locked in the root form. Of course, that's also when I found out Mom got a computer given to a person that put porn on the computer.
It's fair. What else? you
Everybody needs an education.
Come on. That song is really old.
That's all I'm saying. Seriously. We had so much fun when I was growing up because I'm the group that drank out of the garden hose.
Oh.
You know,
You act like that's a small group of people.
we had the most incredible playroom when I was growing up. It's called Outside. You know, my dad would look at us. It's 4:00 in the morning. He's got everybody up. He'd look outside and he'd say, "You see that? Yeah, the sun's going to be coming up soon. Get the hell out of here."
That's a wee bit early for me, but
You know, the lights come on as you're headed towards a buddy's house, and you're like, "Oh, I got to get home." He's like, "So am I." And you both run in other directions.
yeah.
Oh, it's Crystal.
I remember that.
Hello, Crystal. I had to find the right place where they were watching to figure it out.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean, I drank out of a garden hose too. I'm sure Sean drank out of a garden hose. That's not exactly.
Like I said, you had a garden hose. I had a spigot.
I was in Los Angeles. When I was in Georgia, we had the pump well. When I was visiting Grandma, and since I was in a wheelchair and I had all this upper body strength, guess who had to pump that sucker? And then when it was time for me to get water, guess where everybody was? Down the hill over there. They all got that big.
Please don't do that again.
Do what?
This is supposed to be a family-friendly show.
What?
Don't pump your well anymore.
That's what we did. It had that big metal.
I have no idea why you've gone to a place you've gone.
That was, believe it or not, that was pushed in Georgia in the 60s and 70s.
But
They were that bad.
see, I remember I was part of the group that was still, hey, go out and play. Your parents were never home. And your only TV time was when your parents got home, because that was the only time you were allowed in the house. Parents were gone. You either were locked in the house doing chores, or you were outside of the house playing with dirt. And my thing is I'm surprised I didn't break more bones back then, because I would go climb trees and fall out and go, ouch, and try and get back home. And then the next day hurt, but I'm going back out to climb that same stupid tree again.
But this time I'm making it.
Most of the time I made it up there, it was the slipping because I hit a wet spot. Because it's Florida and it rains.
There were like 8 or 9 of us in this one little culture. We used to go out and just either play games or whatever. We were all Trek fans. And when we found out about the Role Players Association, we all joined. This was middle school. So we had to con the guys at the city park to let us use 2 of the big long tables to set up our maps. And within 8 years, we were running our entire program.
When I was in elementary school, we somehow had computers, but I don't understand how. Because we had one family that didn't have lunches. Everybody else was so broke. They had 3.
Well, generally what happens is they wipe the computers that the politicians are using and they give it to the high schools or the middle schools because the politicians need to say it wasn't me that downloaded all those images.
The what often happened in Canada and in other places, because I've definitely heard of it happening in places in America. I just can't off the top of my head. Apple liked to give computers away to schools.
Oh, that was how.
Yeah.
Because it would one they got a tax benefit out of it, but that wasn't really the thing. It was the idea was it was marketing without marketing.
Yep.
It was like get people to use your product
because all schools had apples.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like I was it was high school before I saw a computer lab, and it wasn't even a computer lab. It was technically an accounting lab that had an IBM compatible computer. Like
I think our first IBMs that I saw was in the language lab for my school. So.
Yeah, mine was the accounting lab because we used our grade 12 class used accounting software.
See, I remember the Apple III. My high school got Apple IIIs. And I didn't even own a computer. Walked over to the computer. The teacher's like, it's not working. Got on the computer and, hello, Eugene.
Hello, Eugene. Welcome.
Did you mention you wanted to be a guest?
You want to come in, Eugene?
But
we have room.
Yeah, we have several slots open.
Slots. But the Apple III had a problem where it wouldn't print.
Well, it's an Apple. Come on.
Yes.
It had a lot of problems, really. But
link coming.
1 second. Basically, they had a problem where the software was corrupted, and you couldn't change any of the software. And me being smart, but I didn't have a computer. 15 minutes. I played with the computer, went, Professor, your computer software is messed up. It took them 2 weeks to get a technician to come out to reload all the software, and that was the fix.
Yep.
And that's how I figured out, hey, I should be doing IT.
So my original printer was an 8-pin printer. It hooked up to my XT. It was dot matrix.
Yeah.
And I print out stuff in dot matrix.
Those printers were so much easier than the printers now.
Yeah, well, they connected directly to your computer. They were more like a mouse than they were what we consider a modern printer.
Yeah.
I mean that's part of it. Like the fact that we do so much stuff where we use different protocols and network stuff, and that's part of our problems when we have difficulties with stuff like printers and stuff. Is because we don't communicate them directly like we used to.
Yeah, well, the when I say it was so much better, the dot matrix printers had everything right there. Now you have a print head, you have an imaging kit, you have 4 or 5 other things.
Ink pumps.
You're just the paper tray, the clip in the paper tray can mess it up. Where dot matrix was put the paper in and you were done.
Yeah, as long as you
changed out the ribbon and that was it.
Hey, worked wonderfully.
So
you need a new ribbon.
Yeah, but
you found that out usually halfway between printing something you needed to get printed and needed to be handed in.
And
you're like, oh.
The thing of it is there was a reverse on the ribbon cartridge that you could manually reverse and put it back in again.
Yes, you could reverse it, but it didn't always give you a good print.
But I'm saying you can't do that with an empty cartridge.
No. Well, you could, depending what if you're using a laser, you can shake it up.
Once.
Yeah, I know, once.
Eugene,
Sometimes twice.
let me know if you had a problem with that link. I sent you to the second one as the one to use. But I remember never having a problem out of a dot matrix printer. We have a printer at work that they need to just replace or have somebody put a maintenance kit in that needs 3 new drawers. So every day I go in and I look at it and go, they don't pay me to fix it, leave it alone. But yeah,
it vastly depends on how many users are using a printer too.
300 and something.
Yeah, I know, but like if you buy a printer for yourself and use that, you will get an experience much more like your dot matrix than if you're using a printer that your company bought 10 years ago.
Well, I'm also comparing that most car dealers still have a 30-year-old dot matrix printer that they print all their contracts on.
Mm-hmm. Do you know why? It needed
punches
29 rivets.
It punches through.
Yeah. We'll get a new printer when we're out of ribbon.
They bought them basically by the truckload.
Yep.
We still got 3 boxes in the back. How many are in a box? A gross.
Hey, we better start looking at printers. Why? We only have 900 back there left.
But
we have a busy day today. We're out.
So I went through the Tandy 1000. I had a 386, a 486. Then I got a Pentium 1. I was working for Dell Tech support when the Pentium 3 came out. And I built multiple AMD computers for gaming back then. Now I wouldn't touch an AMD computer to save my life because they don't have the processing power that the Pentium 5 has, the i5s. So back then, though, in the 90s, early 2000s, AMD was where it was for gaming.
Depended who you were dealing with, but yeah, sure.
But you could get an equivalent machine for the Intel. The Intel would cost you 3 times the amount to do the equivalent job.
I wasn't paying, or depending on when we're talking, I was not paying for it, or if I was paying for it, I was paying for yesterday's technology anyways, which was cheap.
Oh.
Like, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I've gotten 8. I have a bunch of friends who are like, "Oh, you should just like put new motherboard in the machine you have and do that." And I'm like,
"Sure.
The case is the least expensive thing. What do I care about reusing the case? The case is $120. Who cares?"
And if you're going to build a system, you get the case, the motherboard, the power supply, and the chip for less than getting just the motherboard.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. He hasn't said anything, and I sent him the message.
Who's going biddy?
It's not me.
It's my computer for that reason. Keep bleeping.
It's John. It's all John. There's way too many people wanting to talk to John.
Yeah, well, he's important, Brian May's got knighted. It's John's turn next.
Eugene, go into your messenger. I sent you on Sean my personal account. I sent you a message with the link.
Yeah, no. I thought I thought like I was reading that and I was like, wasn't he already a knight?
Who?
Brian Mays.
Guy from Queen, the astronomer.
Yeah. But John's next.
John's next. Yeah. Why not?
It's got Charles giving him the medal. So.
Yeah, I see. He was a knight bachelor. So
It was before him. It would have been Elizabeth.
yeah. Well, I mean, you were doing a thing the last few years of you didn't know who you were necessarily going to get because both Charles and William were doing them as well as the Queen, depending on how well she was, when it needed to be done, that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So I expect Charles to still share it a bit with William when necessary. But I mean, coronation's in June.
No, May.
Sorry?
What's that?
Coronation's in May.
Oh, is it in May?
Yeah, May the same day as what's the name?
Are they going to get a clue and make you king?
He's going to marry the princess without a title.
He'll be king and captain. That'll work. We'll change his name from vampire to Captain King.
I can't remember what Charles's rank is. Well, I guess now it's probably admiral of the fleet. But anyways,
He's on the fleet now.
yeah.
Isn't
Isn't
the Queen over the army or something?
Over all
No.
the branches of the military. The Queen?
No.
Not the Queen, the princess. Whatever.
It vastly depends on.
No, they just had a story about it that she was out training with an army group. I can't remember which one.
Training is one thing. Being in charge of it is an entirely different thing.
She's like commander of the army or something.
No. They're honorary colonels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unless they've actually enlisted and are actually doing something, every title they have with the military.
But she was actually out training with the unit.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you can do that.
Now, various royals do have ranks they've earned.
Yeah, I know the brother has.
A majority of the males have at least served at some point, right?
Yeah, because the brother's a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth served.
I bet you he wouldn't hit an unmanned drone with a plane.
No, probably not. If we're talking Prince Edward, he's a chopper pilot.
I don't think he'd hit it with a chopper either.
No, he'd probably hit it with a missile.
I'm just like,
I don't know what I know William's a pilot, but I don't know what he flies.
He used to fly for Fleet Air Arm, SE Rescue.
Okay.
Prince Andrew was flying during the Falklands War, so he's a proper, and Prince Edward.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
My dog's on.
Prince Harry was in Iraq.
Yeah.
For about a week, and they found out he was in Iraq.
Yeah, then they pulled him because they were like, "Oh, that's dangerous." My uncle fought in the Falklands.
Yeah, look at this.
Why can't I fight in Iraq?
I don't know whether your camera is blacked out or you're just not coming in, Eugene, but you are on.
Yep, we can see it.
Right now. What's going on with it?
Okay, that's an internet issue, unfortunately. Maybe it just didn't get a good connection.
Okay. I'm still here though.
Oh, okay, you can talk then. That's good. Sorry, I don't normally do political stuff, but I thought it was funny that the Russian pilots can't even pilot around a drone. Sorry, that's bad. It only goes, what, 200 miles per hour at most? You're in a $40 billion jet in comparison.
Yeah, well, nothing is nothing is simple sometimes, right?
Yeah. So where were we? Okay. So like I said, in high school I was repairing that, and then I did college and then went and worked for Dell for a while. But like I said, since then, really the technology didn't change much. After college, that was when graphics cards got introduced.
Yep.
And while it got faster for a while there, it kind of bottlenecked at one point and went.
Yeah.
Now
it's micro steps now, right? Like processors are it's more about availability than it is speed.
Yeah.
How many cores can you stick on a single wafer kind of thing?
I think a lot of it is because we've been so dependent on China for the microprocessors. And worldwide, China has been the main hub for microprocessors for years.
Yeah.
And after after COVID, it kind of ended supply for a long time. Like
some difficulty, yep.
I did for my church. I bought 4 access points, 2 4 point-to-point antennas, and everything. Had no problem with ordering it. After COVID, now I can't get half of the equivalent of what I ordered in the first order.
Yeah. Because
it's just not available.
Well, there's a whole delayed project at my work for IS that's going to hopefully get finished this year. But I mean, the material was on order 18 months ago. And it's, sort of arriving now, or at least chunks of it are arriving now. Yeah. Right? And to be set up so that we can replace networks in the mine that were kind of dated when we put them in, and then have gotten more dated since. So
when you think about it, that right there has the ability to cost the company a lot of money just from a part that might cost $10, waiting for that one part to come in when it will take down a whole system.
It's definitely it is definitely sometimes challenging. I mean, there are definitely some people in my company that exist or have jobs because they are very good at making things work with other stuff.
Bubble gum,
baling wire.
Well, I remember when I was doing the job for Lowe's, when I was doing the IT on site.
Yeah.
The stores at the time, 90% of them had all fiber connections.
Right.
So the one type of media converter would fail regularly from shock, and it was a light shock would knock the thing out. The workaround to fix it was to put a jumper in the one slot, and it worked fine. Once you jumped it, you had no problem with it. It worked forever. However, come to find out, there was a lifetime warranty on the thing. If you did that, it would void the warranty.
Of course it would.
And it was like, well, I can send back this part and wait 6 months for you to send me the replacement, or I can order the replacement and have it for 6 months while I'm waiting for it to come in. And it got to the point where Lowe's had so many of them that they just told the company, you will either honor the warranty or you'll supply us double what we have, because it's failing that often.
Yeah, and that's always an interesting quirk about various kinds of electronic components too. I mean,
But literally a 10-cent jumper fixed the problem.
I'm sure there's somewhere an engineer that can tell you how it doesn't actually fix the problem. It just lets it function with a problem.
Well,
because that's how that normally works. Is an
it let the computer say, "Hi, server."
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing with how you engineer. I mean, it's a very common engineering thing where it's like you do things because this is what it says. It's very much like what Scotty says, right? He sits there and goes, "You have to be conservative, at least on paper."
He also said to keep a sledgehammer in your bag.
Well, yeah, but that's just fair.
Of course, I'm so old. I remember when 3 websites were all that was out there.
Oh, yeah, okay. You
Then
also
you
remember
hit the end of the internet.
We found the end of the internet.
We did.
Yeah, we were looking for. Oh, never mind. We can't talk about that.
When I worked at site and lived in Fort McMurray, I used to have I cleaned out an office and found a crowbar once. And so because I didn't have access to go and to take it back to the tool crib that it was supposed to go at, the persons were like, well, just keep it. And I'm like, all right, because as long as it wasn't leaving the site, it was still not a problem, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. So I kept it in my office. It was called my engineer adjuster. I always meant to get it mounted on the wall with a plaque on top of it, but I never got that far.
I remember before I left internally at Lowe's, we had a 3.5 pound sledgehammer that we used to move beams.
Yeah.
And then we had a 10-pound sledgehammer. The 3.5 pound, we said attitude adjuster on one side. And then when you flipped it so the point was pointing forward, it said idiot fixer. They said it's not legal to fix idiots. I said, I didn't say it would be legal. I just said that it would fix them.
Yes.
Eugene hasn't added anything.
So what did the 10 pound say?
Oh, the 10 pound was just for moving the uprights. I didn't have to carry that one around as much. I don't have a 10 pound at Walmart, and I need it to move some of the uprights because the idiots that moved them put them cockeyed.
Duh. It's Walmart.
He goes into my store. They pulled all the shelving out and took the flooring up.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they put them in and screwed them down, they didn't make sure that the
none of them are aligned.
The main part of it was aligned. So basically it looks like this. And you can tell because you look at the floor and you see gaps or you see it pinched. Gap, pinch, all the way down. The one person.
Are you sure that's just not the aesthetic Walmart is going for?
Oh, I positively know it. Because I put those in before and I know how they were supposed to be put in.
Yeah.
But when you pay the lowest bidder to do something,
You get what you pay for.
Now you know what the military goes through.
they
always pay the lowest.
I can't talk about that. But all I know is one of the store planners go, the last time y'all did a remodel, y'all fucked up. I looked at him and I said, dude, this is your people ripping out the floor. Oh. After they finished my store, they had to take all the store planners and have a 4-day meeting and retrain them.
So there's hope that there are stores done right?
I know like 3 store planners that I would trust to fix it. None of them did I meet that 4-month time period. And you can ask Drew, our store doesn't look like it was remodeled.
No. Looks like it was just built. They forgot to finish half of it.
That reminds me, I gotta buy shelving this weekend.
Don't buy it from. Oh, shh. Never mind. You won't get a good price. Let me just say that.
It's Canada. You never know what I'm gonna get.
What type of shelving do you want?
Just the industrial thing. It's just gonna take bankers boxes and
Oh.
stuff like that.
Don't you have Harbor Freight?
Oh, yeah, but then I'd have to go find where Harbor Freight is in Calgary, and freaking. Then I would find out that I can't go on Sunday, and then
If it's open like it is here, it's open 7 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and you would save a lot of money. There's certain tools that I'd buy at Harbor Freight over Lowe's when I had the discount at Lowe's because they were like a third of the price
Mm-hmm.
and worked just as good. There were certain tools that I didn't buy from Harbor Freight, but the only reason I didn't buy it was they gave me a half off discount for my drill set. When they first put out the store branded 24 volt, they gave us a 44% discount on them because they wanted to actually have people that were using them. And dude, they're better than the Cobalt, the Black and Decker. What is it? It's not Colt. It's Black and Decker is the contractor version of it. Yellow tool, Stanley. No,
do you mean DeWalt?
DeWalt. Thank you.
So there are no Harbor Freights in Canada, apparently.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that sucks.
I apologize. What discount tool places do you have?
I don't know. The closest thing I can think of off the top of my head is Princess Auto, and I'm not sure about the shelving I need. But maybe I can drag my ass. I mean, the challenge for me is the whole I need to get a friend to drive my sorry ass around to go pick up shit so that I can go. You know what I mean?
You don't have a car, you just don't have something big enough.
No, I don't have a car. I don't have a vehicle.
That would take a little bit of time.
So,
man, what is that like?
It's terrible.
Because I can tell you here, you can't get no place without a vehicle.
Yeah, I do live in a metro area, though. Like I live in a metro area with an actual transit system.
Yeah.
So I can get to work fairly easily. I'm just trying to get things around is sometimes challenging. Certainly something as big as a shelving unit is sort of like, yeah, no, get a friend. Although I do remember carrying a toilet auger on transit.
Was it used or new?
No, it was new. Fortunately for me, it was new.
See, I remember customers would buy the toilet auger, would go home and use it and bring it back to return it. Depending on how stupid the person at the front was, they sometimes got them returned. It's illegal to return those.
For the blatantly obvious reasons why it's illegal to return those.
Yeah. But you would get people that didn't know the rules and would allow it. Or you'd get managers that were stupid.
Those are people with really big balls, though, to try and return that.
Or really stupid. I do live in a place that the IQ does not have to be above 25 to get out of high school.
It's true. Could be worse. You could live in Mississippi, though.
Huh? I live in a what?
No, it could be worse. You could live in Mississippi. Which I think is still 50th in everything else.
Wait. We got to look that up. I think Florida scored under Mississippi.
Mississippi would have had to improve a significant amount because the last time I checked, Mississippi was like the bottom of pretty much every list. Including healthcare, including schooling, like just everything. Except I think the only thing they weren't on was the corrupt police thing, because the corrupt police thing went to Louisiana.
Really? We have a county here that has pretty corrupt cops.
Oh, no. I'm sure you do. Well, yeah.
That's why I kind of enjoy my county.
Yeah.
We got the best sheriff in the area, but you go to that other county, you're risking your life. I didn't know how bad it was until I started watching YouTube videos.
Oh, wow.
All scores by state.
By the way, he was knighted Tuesday, March 14th, 2023.
Okay. You think Florida or Mississippi has lower education scores?
Race to the bottom, right?
Depends on how long Governor Redacted stays in office.
That says a lot about Governor Redacted when you go Governor Redacted.
It's a joke that's going around the interview about him. Really? Mississippi?
All right. Is that Crystal?
I'm not sure because it's on another page.
It's Facebook user.
Facebook user.
There are parts of Mississippi and Georgia and Virginia and West Virginia that have very, very low education. I think it starts and finishes in preschool.
Well, there's parts of Florida that it has none either. How do you think Florida Man got started?
I look at the gubernatorial mansion and I go, that's how. Next question. Make the next one hard. Then I look at the Senate and the House, and it's like, okay, there's where Stupid Man got started. Now, you know,
Do I have a question for you? Do all your states have dual housing?
Oh, it was Crystal.
have what?
Yeah.
Dual housing?
Yes.
Like, your states all have like
There is a
representative
state senate and
a Senate? Okay.
legislative, and then there's the overall. Typically, you only see the overall Senate and House.
Yeah.
But there is a state version as well.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. I knew that some states obviously had it because I encountered it. But like I have certainly not encountered everything about every state at least once, right?
Yeah, they are kind of required by the Constitution.
Okay. Well, yeah, because in Canada, we have single houses in the provinces and double house only for the feds.
Right.
Now we have, and let's face it, our systems are not super compatible. I mean, you know, even in our dual houses, the most thing we have in common with your Senate and my Senate is stuffy old guys. That's it. Like,
Well, they're not
the way those
necessarily.
stuffy old guys work is completely different.
Well, you know, when you have, well, in our case, when you have 16 paid vacations a year,
Yeah.
how are you working?
But the reason why is in the Constitution,
Yeah.
there is supposed to be the two houses are supposed to balance each other.
Yeah.
And then the three branches, which is replicated in both Fed and in state, because you have the judicial or the judges,
Yeah.
the
Legislative,
governor,
the legislative,
and then
and
the
The executive.
the executive is the governor, legislative is
Right.
the Senate and the House.
Yeah, and you have your legislative, your judicial, and your thing. I just think it's very funny that your check and balance system is not very good at check and balancing itself.
well,
No, it's not.
in this state, it is though. Think about it. Governor Redacted did something stupid, and the
State Supreme
judges
Court
went,
said, "Give
nope.
it up, jackass."
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to sit there and okay, I am, but I'm not deliberately really trying to be a total douche nozzle about it. I'm just saying it is a different system, and like in Canada, our judges, with a certain amount of air quotes, depending on which judges you're talking about, because obviously a bunch of our judges get appointed because we don't elect stuff.
Right.
And who those people get appointed by does affect sort of their politics. But by law, if you are a judge, you cannot be a member of a political party.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, fortunately for the United States, in the past 75 years, our Supreme Court judges, state and federally, for the most part, 99.9% of the time, have gone through whatever is being asked of them. They've looked at the Constitution, they've looked at the Bill of Rights, and they didn't care. They don't care who's wrong. They just tell the one who's wrong, "You messed up. Go away. Don't go away mad. Just go away, because you can't do that."
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, in Canada, that's sort of what our system does too. And well, obviously, especially at the Supreme Court level, where the Prime Minister gets to do the appointing with advice from counsel.
Right.
Quite possibly, it's actually the Governor General with advice from counsel, whichever it is. It's one of the two.
I believe the state judges are elected.
Yeah, and that's definitely not something we do in Canada. We don't elect a single judge.
Well,
The Superior Court judges are elected.
they're elected here, and then the federal those are appointed by the president plus the Senate.
Yeah.
And ratified by the Senate.
Yeah.
But in the states, the judges are elected, and every so many years the constituents have a choice. Do they keep their position?
Yeah.
So if a judge is not doing their job in the state,
yeah, they can be fired.
the state fires them.
I have seen the kind of things you guys have elected, and I have seen what some of my people have elected, and how many times we'll do the devil we know instead of the devil we don't know as a justification of not changing somebody who is clearly a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what?
I don't have the name, but there was a case where the judge was letting a lot of bad people off incorrectly.
Yeah.
And it made the news. And let's just say the people that I thought would vote for him voted against him.
That's fair. And
So,
I mean, and each system is different and has its quirks and what does works well and what doesn't work well, and it varies by jurisdiction and location and how civic minded people are and urban and rural and various other factors that come into play when you start looking at how government.
And people never think about cultural factors. People never think about income factors. People never think about, and all of that goes into that great big shaker and
Yeah, I get it.
and
And I
out
mean-
comes
Yeah,
the
and then,
worst martini ever made. Yeah, politicians on ice. The worst martini ever made.
yeah, anything with that, anything. But I mean, we even see variants on that and how that works in various places in even Star Trek, where we deal with who advises who and various like presidents making decisions based on the information that they are being given and how that is going to affect
you just read it, didn't you?
yeah, I just but like and obviously like I mean that's one of the points of Paradise Lost, right?
Yeah.
But I mean we also see it in juggling, the political juggling we get to see in Star Trek 6, where the president of the Federation basically says no, they're going to stand trial because that's what is politically going to work better for me. Arguments about that and how that's going to be perceived. There'd be a great, not very interesting to people in an exterior, so it'd not be a good movie thing, but a great short trek or something in that kind of genre of things, of trying to look at that from like what the Federation citizen viewed that particular set of interactions with. And that would be a very fascinating dive into what does the average Federation citizen, how they view things, because we've very rarely seen Federation citizens reacting to their news media. And to be perfectly honest, we've seen news media only a handful of times ever. None of which in a context that would give us any kind of sense of what that's like for them to be experienced. Obviously we see the people during Generations, during the launch of the Enterprise B. I believe we see, like, very briefly see in 4 and 6 some media people very briefly, and obviously we see some stuff in Picard first season in the first couple episodes where we deal with those kinds of things. It would be really interesting to see what the Federation looks like from us a citizen point of view in something like a short trek or an anthology series where we were just telling stories.
Well, I was enjoying like you said, the short treks where they were showing the blow up of Mars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that would be an interesting take.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be something that what's happening on Earth during all this stuff.
Yeah. And just how do you experience these various events from various points of view?
But the one thing I was thinking about when I read Crystal's comment was, what's happening right now was predicted in the last movie that was produced. The one where they went back in time and saw the launch of the warp shuttle or the warp ship.
Oh, in First Contact?
In First Contact, where they were showing the war going on and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't much ahead of right now.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
As a matter of fact, I think it was close, like maybe 10 years from now.
It's the 60s.
What I would
the
like,
60s?
It's the 2060s. But when they go back and like the Bell riots are next year.
Right. So
some of this time travel stuff is like very soon. And some of it is very sort of too close for comfort.
Yeah, the movie is almost predicting what is going on right now. Because if you remember, there was a disease. Yeah. There was a uprising of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And there's World War.
Well, yeah, but also remembering that there's a bunch of recon in that too.
What I want to see is I'd like to see an episode. I think it would work good as a fan film. A starship, say Sovereign class or Akira class, goes back to make contact with the Iosians from Piece of the Action. And find the starbase sitting outside the planet and all the bells and whistles of a Federation world. And it's like, wait a minute. All because of McCoy's communicator.
Yeah, that's fine. It'd be cool. And in fact, I think they did hit on that in Planets of the Federation.
That happened.
Wasn't that the planet that Deep Space Nine visited?
No. Deep Space Nine is the most divorced from TOS's stuff as I think you can get without being Voyager, because that's obviously a big whole goddamn thing.
But I think that would be a cool.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to see it in actual canon, because I think it has been suggested in the greater body of work, right? That did happen, but
yeah. So we're going to be wrapping this up.
Cool.
This show is going to continue. We're looking for guests to join us. We would like to, if Crystal wants to come on next time, it'll be the third. Wait a minute. What is this? The third this time?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the first week of the month, which he will actually be traveling. So he'll be in remote. I'll be here because I'll be watching the dogs.
Yeah, it's the 7th. Should be the 7th.
Yep. He's going to be going to the state equestrian event for Special Olympics. So we will be doing this.
Light duty. He takes care of the diabetic dog.
Yeah. The dog that barks at a leaf. But
I'm sure the leaf is very frightened.
Those leaves, man, they won't leave you alone. It's just the way it is. Well, you can't help it. I mean, like she sees like a little pie wedge above her head and a little pie wedge on the side. So any motion at all, as far as she is concerned, I need to attack it or at least look fierce.
So we will be streaming again for this show the first week and the third week. Just like this month, we're going to keep that schedule. And anybody that wants to come on and we'll talk about anything sci-fi.
Yep.
We kind of had a deep dive in the history of computers.
Yes.
This time. So we talked about role-playing games.
Yep.
About cons and about awarding people.
Yes.
Region 2, if you were at the sci-fi thing, I have 3 more awards to write up for the group that was there. And I apologize for the delays, but they are coming.
We have been busy. Very busy.
So please tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. when we find out more about the USS Essex.
That'll be great.
So for now, thank you for joining us again, Richard. Live long and prosper.
Here, I'll even face the camera with it.
Peace and long life.
And
Peace and long life.
where is the mouse?